What's good, YouTube? You already know who it is, man. It's your boy Jerry Fit, and we are back to react with what's new on the tube, man. We got a special video for y'all. 2025 NBA Draft's biggest winners and losers, bro. Man, I didn't even get a chance to catch a draft last night, bro. I know that the Celtics drafted some kid from Real Madrid. I have no idea, like, about his background at all. Like, all I know is that he scored like 3.5, and like we passed over a couple of people, but I don't know anything about this draft class, I'm not gonna lie. But I figured, since I talked about the Celtics trade, that maybe I'd pay attention to the NBA draft, maybe try to tune in more, see what's going on in the league. Because we're gonna be on the reactions next season, bro. We want to see who we should be looking out for and stuff. Like we know Cooper Flag and shit. Amari, actually no, I don't know his name. I don't want to say the wrong name and get clowned on. Um, but yeah, we're gonna see what the Flight Mike has to say. You guys know that's my news channel when it comes to basketball recently. Him and Mike Corzama usually. Um, we're just gonna jump in and we're gonna see what's good, who won the draft and who lost. But before we do that, you already know I'm gonna tell you, bro. If you like this kind of content, bro, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because we're posting every single day, man. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Let's jump into
Dallas
it.
Mavericks select Cooper Flag. You have called the great. Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flag.
You have called the greatest youth freshman ever. Really, this young man's thing, Jay. He's gifted in isolation.
Look at Modi.
The first round of the 2025 NBA draft is officially complete, and I think it's safe to say that the landscape of the NBA has completely shifted. Some major picks were made and some franchises were changed, but as always, there are some winners and some losers from the first round of the NBA draft. Now, full disclaimer, this is all based on our own speculation. I'm not perfect and I can't see the future. However, that's not going to stop me from sharing my opinion. A lot of my speculation is based on the value of these prospects before the pre-draft process. Some teams made some great picks and some teams made some bad ones, but just because a team made a bad pick now doesn't necessarily mean that that player can't turn out to be a really good player down the line in the future.
Why they show James Wiseman highlights, bro?
Because the first winners of the 2025 NBA draft, in my opinion, are Cooper Flag and the Dallas Mavericks. So before we get to
and Kyrie just signed that new 3-year deal, man, for 119, bro. See, you guys don't think I know the ball, bro, but I know the big things that be going on, man. I be talking sports with my boys, man, 24/7, bro.
Drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications.
So that's gonna be good for Flag, bro. And he has AD.
We dropped like 4 videos over the past 2 days.
They could for real make some noise.
Keep you guys up to date with the latest NBA news, and we're gonna keep you guys up to date on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and X as well.
Shout out to Flight Mike, man.
Description down below. And now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? After making arguably the worst trade in NBA history when they traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers at the trade deadline last year, the Dallas Mavericks were blessed with the #1 pick in the NBA draft in a year where one of the greatest draft prospects we've ever seen was declaring. To give you an idea of the hype surrounding Cooper Flag, he's easily the second best prospect we've ever seen over the past decade.
That's
I put
crazy.
him right below Victor Wembanyama and right above Zion Williamson. And Cooper Flag is a Dallas Maverick, and I cannot begin to express how big of a win this is for both Flag and the Dallas Mavericks organization. Flag is one of the most hyped up draft prospects in NBA history, and rightfully so. Flag is a 6'9" hybrid wing who can score at will, and also happens to be the best defender in the draft.
Dude, he was
and he's
cooking.
Also 18 years old. Flag is the youngest NBA draft prospect since LeBron James. And although he will ever match LeBron's draft hype ever again,
I know he was 18, bro. Damn. That's crazy, bro. But what I was saying was he was cooking at the Olympic when he was on the select team, bro. Dude, from then on I was tuned in. I was like, oh shit. And I know he's from like the New England area, from Maine. So like obviously I'd heard his name. But I wasn't really tuned in until last year.
Flag is awfully close. From getting buckets against NBA greats during Olympic
What did I
practices
just
to
say,
dominating
bro?
the college world, Cooper Flag is looking to be a guaranteed superstar, the same way Victor Wembanyama was 2 years ago. Now, pair a prospect of that multitude with a team that, in all honesty, can compete in the next few years,
That's
and you
what I'm
get a match
saying.
made in heaven. Despite trading their future at the deadline, the Dallas Mavericks are a very well-built team. They have Anthony Davis leading the way after getting him back.
That's what I'm saying when the like this is mad random, but the NBA, bro, like there's no way that the Mavericks didn't know that they were gonna get the first pick. Like, bro, are you fucking kidding me? You mean to tell me that the NBA really didn't have a hand in making a trade like this happen? LeBron happens to be coming up on his retirement years, bro. I want to hear what you guys think in the comments, bro. I know this is like old news, but like, bro, it's just like it's crazy to me how like some people don't really freaking open their eyes to
The Luka
stuff like
Doncic
this.
trade. They have a few very good young big men in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. They have some very valuable veteran presences in the
Bro,
locker
they
room,
do,
including
bro.
Klay
They could
Thompson
low-key
and
make a
Spencer
run
Dinwiddie.
next
And on top
year.
of that, they get Kyrie Irving back in a year after he signed a 3-year, $119 million contract to stay with Dallas long-term after his ACL tear last season. That is not a first overall pick type roster, but they got this pick due to a whole lot of injuries and a whole lot of luck, depending on who you ask. Before the draft lottery, Dallas had the 11th highest odds at the #1 overall pick at a minuscule 1.8%. But those odds hit, and now Cooper Flag lands in a situation that every Western Conference team should be afraid of. Since 2000, only 4 #1 overall picks have made the playoffs in their rookie year. Markelle Fultz in 2018, but we're not going to count that. Derrick Rose in 2009, Andrea Bargnani in 2007, and Andrew Bogut in 2006. Flag is in prime position to join
Andrew
those 4 players,
Bogut
and
took
he very
his
well may
team
go
to
a
the
hell of a
fucking
lot deeper than
playoffs
they
in his
did.
rookie
We
year.
saw another perfect fit with the next pick, as the San Antonio Spurs selected Rutgers point guard Dylan Harper, making both Harper and the Spurs organization huge winners. Dylan Harper goes into the best situation possible for a point guard. He definitely won't be the starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs because they currently have De'Aaron Fox under contract, which means there isn't a lot of pressure for him to produce right away. And he also goes to a team that is notorious for developing young talent.
Wait,
Much
yeah,
like
is
the
Chris
Dallas
Paul still
Mavericks,
there?
the San Antonio Spurs jumped up a ton to this pick, entering the lottery with the 8th highest odds and a 6.3% chance at the 2nd overall pick. And boy, did they luck out. Dylan Harper is the
Wembanyama already calling plays is
to be
crazy.
both an elite scorer and an elite playmaker. If I was to compare him to another player we've seen before, I'd say his play style is very similar to Cade Cunningham. Dylan Harper is set to be a perfect fit in San Antonio, alongside Victor Wembanyama and reigning NBA Rookie of the Year Stephon Castle, creating an elite young core that will compete for championships for a long time. Now, bear in mind, there's a logjam at the guard position for the San Antonio Spurs, and as a result, Dylan Harper's rookie season might not be as statistically prolific as you'd expect. But I don't think it will affect Harper's development at all. If anything, I think it will help Harper's development. The Spurs have a history of being able to develop young talent really well, and Dylan Harper seems to be the next in line of a long list of San Antonio Spurs prospects that could be developed into an all-star. I do believe that Dylan Harper will play great basketball alongside Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox, and even if that doesn't work out, San Antonio is in a remarkable situation because they aren't fully committed to all 3 players. They could easily trade De'Aaron Fox at the deadline as an expiring contract for a haul of future assets that would make their young core even better. I personally don't think this will happen, but for those of you concerned about Harper's fit next to these 2 guards, don't be. Harper is going to be a perfect fit in San Antonio, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's competing with Cooper Flag for the title of the best player in the 2025 NBA draft in a few years from now. Our first loser of the draft came at pick number 5, where the Utah Jazz selected Dylan Harper's teammate Ace Bailey. Now, the Utah Jazz aren't losers in this case. They could actually be huge winners if this pans out. But Ace Bailey himself is a big loser here. Ace Bailey played a very dangerous game during the offseason, and we made a completely separate video on that earlier this week. But if you didn't catch that, let me bring you up to date. Ace Bailey declined workouts from many of the top teams during the pre-draft process, primarily because he wanted to go to a team where he could be the primary scoring option.
Oh my gosh.
Risky, and it definitely cost him.
Bro, on the Jazz, what? Wait, I'm not hip. I don't watch the Jazz like that. Who's the leading scorer on the Jazz? Bro, just go work,
but
man.
Ace Bailey was trying to go to a situation where he can establish himself as a star in the NBA right away. And that makes a lot of sense, because if he went to the Philadelphia 76ers, he would have had a great opportunity to compete and potentially form a nice young core with Tyrese Maxey for the future of the Philadelphia 76ers, but in the meantime, he would have been the fourth scoring option if he went there, which could have harmed his development, so I could also understand the rationale here. So as a result, Bailey made it known that his preferred destinations were either Washington at number 6, New Orleans at number 7, or Brooklyn at number 8. The NBA doesn't care about Ace Bailey's preferred destination.
Bro, those are some interesting destinations, bro. Like, come on, dog. Like,
and as a result, Bailey is part of an organization that he seemingly doesn't want to be a part of at all. We'll see how this turns out, and we'll see if the drama gets the best of Ace Bailey.
Imagine how awkward it is showing up to the team that drafted you and you decline their workout. It's like, the first question they're gonna ask you is like, "Do you even want to be here, bro?" It's like you can't even say like, "Thank you for drafting me."
If it doesn't, the Utah Jazz
I wonder if they called him before.
Ace Bailey might be the best overall scorer in the entire draft, and after putting up the worst record in the entire NBA last season, a pure bucket getter is exactly what Utah needs. There's a very good chance that if Bailey doesn't literally refuse to play for the Jazz, he becomes their best player in year one.
That's what I'm saying.
Good. His diva personality is certainly a little bit of a concern, and it did screw him over a little bit, making him our first loser. But when it comes to his skill on the court, Utah has the potential to come out of the 2025 NBA draft as huge winners. The Phoenix Suns are yet another team that walked out of the NBA draft as massive winners, because not only did they draft the best center in the draft in Kaman Malik from Duke, but while they were on the clock at number 10, they decided that they wanted another former Duke center, making a blockbuster deal with the Charlotte Hornets that sent the 29th pick and a 2029 first for Mark Williams. They also sent Charlotte Vasile Micic, a player that they acquired in the Yusuf Nurkic trade back in February, saving them a whopping $8.1 million before exercising his team option. And this comes after a season where their biggest concern by far was quality play at the center position. Phoenix managed to acquire two centers in the span of minutes who fill that section. Kaman Malik is an elite pick and roll big and will be an instant lob threat in a Devin Booker offense. And now that Phoenix has Mark Williams to start for them, Malik is in a position where he's able to properly develop and figure out his game without the pressure of being the only competent big man on this team. After being all but forced to trade Kevin Durant, Phoenix made out pretty damn good on draft day. Now, this trade is way more complicated and dense than you might think. I wanted to briefly touch up on it on our biggest winners and losers video, because obviously Phoenix is a huge winner here, not to say that the Charlotte Hornets aren't winners either. We have a completely separate video doing a deep dive on this trade that's already been uploaded, and I'm going to leave a link to it at the end of this video in our end screen. And with the last pick of the lottery, the San Antonio Spurs made yet another pick that makes them massive winners. They drafted Arizona wing Carter Bryant. Now, is it just me, or if I'm a prospect and I hear my name called by San Antonio, I'm going to automatically jump for joy. Not only do they have a great track record developing prospects, but they have one of the most stacked young teams in the association. Carter Bryant is a guy that we didn't see.
They have the potential to be like a better OKC in the next couple of years.
Monster, has a consistent three-point shot, and gives San Antonio some much-needed size and athleticism at the wing. Looking over his tape at Arizona, his game reminds me of Paul George when Paul George was coming out of Fresno State. And if he is anything like Paul George, the Spurs got the steal of the draft. Coming out of the lottery with Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant is absolutely insane. And I don't know if any team has a brighter future than the San Antonio Spurs at this point. A team that had a super weird draft was the Brooklyn Nets. They came into it with 5 out of 30 of the first round picks, and I still have them as draft losers. The first 3 picks are where they really lost me. With their first pick, Brooklyn select Igor Demin out of BYU at
in typical Brooklyn Nets fashion.
Pick of the draft where I was genuinely surprised. Then with their next pick, they selected French point guard Nolan Traore at number 19. Then 3 picks later, they selected Drake Powell out of North Carolina. And look, there's no question in my mind that there is a chance that these draft picks could pan out. But with the talent that was on the board at those 3 picks, I can't help but think that Brooklyn didn't get the value that those first-round picks held. At number 8, players like Kaman Malik and Carter Bryant were all available. At 19, we still had guys like Asanul and Kasparas Yakuchinis and Jace Richardson on the board, who are all guys who could have easily been lottery. drafted Powell at number 22.
That's
Instead of
crazy.
maximizing their value, they decided to reach for 3 underwhelming prospects, who in all honesty they could have gotten with their later picks. Not a great draft for a team that had 1/6 of the entire thing. The last winner I have is my biggest winner outside of Dallas and San Antonio, and that's the Atlanta Hawks. They didn't even make their first pick until pick number 23, but the move that they made to get there and the player that they selected really set the Hawks' future up for success. During the lottery, the Hawks traded the number 13 pick to the New Orleans Pelicans for the 23rd pick and an unprotected first-round pick in 2026, which happens to be the most favorable pick between the Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, they traded down 10 picks, but that pick could turn out to be insanely valuable. New Orleans was one of the worst teams in basketball last season, and I really don't see that changing this year. Milwaukee is also one Giannis injury away from being an unbelievably bad basketball team. Whether New Orleans or Milwaukee ends up being worse, I truly believe that this pick has the potential to be in the top 5 when it's all said and done. They already won this trade, and I haven't even mentioned who they took at number 23 yet. At 23, Atlanta selected Georgia forward Asa Noel, and like I said when I was talking about Brooklyn, he very well could have been a lottery pick. Noel's a hometown kid too. Like grew up in Atlanta, played basketball at the University of Georgia, and now he gets to play basketball in his hometown for a Hawks team that looks to be set for a while. And those are our biggest winners and losers of this NBA draft. I don't think there were any significant losers.
Hey man, that's gonna do it for this video, man. If you guys want to see the rest of that, you already know where you can find it, bro. Link in the description, bro. Shout out to Flight Mike White for letting us use the content, bro. What do you guys think about the biggest winners and losers of the draft? He didn't touch on the Celtics draft, but I mean, hey, I think all these prospects have the potential to go as far as they want to in terms of greatness in the league, man. So good luck to them, and appreciate you guys tuning in, man. If you guys want more videos like this, man, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because you know we're posting every single day. And I'll catch y'all in the next video, man. I appreciate y'all.